Oh no, I was sick last week. It rarely happens, but yeah, I actually felt a bit under the weather last week, which means that instead of making videos, I decided to rest up a bit. I am feeling a bit better now though, although my voice might still be a little bit, worse for wear. So what did I do while I was sick, you might ask? Well, I looked for entertainment, of course, and one of those bits of entertainment was this mod for Half-Life 2 Episode 2 that I ended up playing. It's called New Times, and it starts off with you escaping from becoming a stalker. Yeah, one of those gnarly creatures. Let's have a look at it.
LambdaGeneration.
New Times is a mod for Half-Life 2 Episode 2 developed by Stunstick Team, and it was inspired by the classic Dangerous World mod that released a long while back. It takes place during the events of Half-Life 2 Episode 1, while the Citadel is in quite a pickle, and Gordon and Alex have to move in, stabilize the core, and then swiftly move out again. Only you're not part of their adventure. You have quite the adventure of your own. I mentioned it before, but you were slated to become a stalker before the ending of Half-Life 2 took place. But you are no longer locked into that fate as you manage to escape the stalkerification process as the Citadel is crumbling. Now free to move around again, you have to escape the Citadel before it explodes with you in it, and by extension, you gotta escape City 17 in its entirety. But this will of course never go smoothly with many Combine soldiers and other creatures in the way. Sounds like a pretty decent premise so far. The mod will have 5 chapters, with Chapter 1 and 2 already completed according to the ModDB page. Chapter 1 is even currently playable as a demo, and that's the part where you have to escape the Citadel. I'll talk about that in a bit. Chapter 2 is going to take place in an abandoned underground Soviet railroad system. These screenshots already look pretty great, although I'm missing a lot of, well, railroad? According to the latest media update, development of Chapter 3 is well underway as well, with it taking place on the surface of City 17. Chapters 4 and 5 are still a little bit up in the air though. Not much is known about them yet, and according to the creators, only one map has been created for Chapter 5 as of the posting of that media update. So I'm interested to see what they're going to make out of that. Anyway, you probably want to hear me talk about the demo now, right? Let's get straight into it. As I mentioned before, the entirety of the Chapter 1 demo of New Times takes place in the Citadel, and, well, it has definitely seen better days. You start the mod off with having pretty much no weapons at all, so no way to defend yourself. But hey, we do have our HUD and a flashlight, so there is that at least. And you better get used to that, because you won't be getting an actual weapon to defend yourself with properly until around 15 minutes in. Sure, you do get to lob a grenade at a stalker once, and you get to use a turret to defend yourself with while an elevator is coming down for you, but you basically have to defend yourself without any carryable weapons for a bit. Now, luckily, this isn't actually a big problem. At a certain point in the demo, you meet these 2 rebels that you have to let out of their prison cells. One of them is a medic, and the other one has a pulse rifle. Now, you gotta let the rebel with the pulse rifle go first, heading straight into battle, while you have to hang back a bit. Honestly, it's really not as bad as it might seem. This segment doesn't take that long, and as long as you don't dive headfirst into Combine soldiers, you should be fine. Eventually though, spoiler alert, the rebel with the rifle gets killed in probably the most dramatic way possible. But it's also all good because you inherit his gun. From now on, you can just shoot Combine soldiers yourself. And the last part of this mod turns into a fairly standard Half-Life 2-esque romp. Until the car section appears. Yeah, this mod has a car section. It's very short and may take some trial and error to complete, I'll explain that in a bit, but it's pretty alright for what it is, and it serves a nice transition piece from the Citadel into the underground parking garage section Episode 1 is known for having. The chapter pretty much ends here though, and with it, the demo ends as well. It took me around 22 minutes to complete, so the length of your standard Avatar: The Last Airbender episode. The cartoon, not the live-action remake. Overall, I think the gameplay is fine. You do play the majority of this demo without weapons though, and that might turn some people off. Even though I'd say that the whole section without weapons is done pretty well actually. And hey, this chapter is going to be part of a larger mod, so this will be a whole lot more acceptable in the full release. There are barely any puzzles though, except for maybe leading a rebel to a Combine console once and lobbing a grenade through a hole in the wall to get a stalker. So if you're looking for puzzles, then you might be a little disappointed here in this demo. The mapping itself also seems pretty good. I wouldn't say it stands out a lot from other mods in terms of level quality, but it does do the job very well. It conveys the Citadel being a broken mess really good. The lighting is mostly very nice and pleasant to look at, and I really didn't get lost at all. So that's a pretty good thing, I'd say. But it does have some problems, like in this turret section, for example. I pressed this button in the hopes that something would happen, but the only thing it seemed to have done was summon a bunch of Combine soldiers. I fought them off using the turret, but I wasn't sure when this was going to end until an elevator came down from the sky? So that's what the button did, huh? There really was no indication whatsoever that there was supposed to be an elevator here. The car section is also a bit buggy. The sides of these rails aren't clipped, so if you slip out after falling on top of them and lose control of the car, it's very easy to get stuck here. I definitely had to reload a save. So yeah, there are a few issues here, but all of the issues I mentioned above were actually addressed in the latest media updates, and they're fixed. At least they will be in the full release. The team hasn't backported these changes to the demo, and I'm not sure if they're going to do that, although that might be a nice idea. To sum it all up, New Times is an interesting mod that is currently still in development, and its demo is actually pretty promising. It has decent gameplay, good graphics, and from what I can see from these screenshots that are being shared, we're going to get some good stuff in the full release. Definitely something to keep your eyes peeled for. New Times is currently set to be released this year. So, what do you think of New Times? Is this something you might want to play at some point, or are you going to skip out on this one? Let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to hear from you all. Oh, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos about Half-Life mods and much more. I promise my voice doesn't always sound like this. There's some cool stuff in the works, so be sure to click that bell too. In the meantime, check out New Times by clicking the link in the description below. Salutations, and take care.